There are so many chapters that can be brought into DVD with so much potential that one day the chapter of your dreams just might make it to the game. Whether the chapter is popular or not popular, behavior still has a long way to go, am I right? Eventually the most popular chapters will come into the game, right? But what are the chapters that aren't getting much attention that you think will be great? What chapters can we get in between the more popular chapters that can possibly arrive in the game? What are some underrated chapters that I would like to see in DBD? A Quiet Place. I feel like this chapter will be extremely unique yet difficult to implement into the game in the best way possible. A Quiet Place follows a family with horrific past trauma but has to survive the rest of humanity against blind creatures with great hearing in pure silence. If you make a sound, well, this will happen. There's one major character in the movie by the name of Reagan, who was the daughter in a bot family, and she happens to be deaf. I think having her in the game like DBD will be very diverse, since she will be our very first deaf character. She could have a unique but challenging factor about playing her that every sound around her is muffled, even the terriers. This could make for some interesting perks on her behalf. However, the only issue with having her in the game is that she's pretty young. I mean, if the license holders let behavior modify her a bit by making her an adult, kinda like how they did for a Sadako chapter, I think that would be pretty great. If not though, the mother, who is Evelyn the bot, will likely be the survivor along with her husband, Leah bot. Of course, the killer would be the Death Angel. That sounds like a cool name in DVD, I'm not gonna lie. These monsters here extremely well, with their only impairment being that they can't see. Seeing a monster like this will be pretty immersive experience in DVD, considering, well, the monsters can't see. The devs could tweak this into the game by having the outline structures of the map be visible for the monster, but the monster can't see the survivors. So playing as the Death Angel would feel like a forever spirit in a way. But mind you, this is all passive. The power would have to involve something with mobility. Something like if the Death Angel gets a sound notification, they sprint at a much faster speed and can see aura from certain meters away. What I like about the idea of this chapter is that it has the potential to do something very different that we've never seen before in DVD by having a deaf protagonist versus a blind antagonist. If behavior were considering adding A Quiet Place or something like that as a chapter, there's no doubt that it would bring more of a distinct feel to DVD. Hannibal Lecter.
Oh, and Senator, just one more thing. Love your suit.
Out of the many classic characters we have in DBD, one of the many few that we're missing is the Hannibal Lecter. This is a true psychopath, and I think the entity will be pleased and curious to see what Hannibal Lecter is capable of in the fog. This psycho made someone kill themselves just by speaking to them. How? What I noticed in the film is that Hannibal Lecter likes to get in his victims' heads, and he's like a chameleon, being able to blend in with whatever circumstance. How would the devs be able to incorporate this into a game like DVD? I really have no idea. I thought it was something where he could kinda inflict whatever status effect he wants on the survivor without the need of any perks. This would make sense since Hannibal Lecter has the capability of not only controlling your emotions but your actions, making you feel uncomfortable. He's so calm and intelligent, it's intimidating, that kind of feel. Hence him having the audacity to get into your head and make you feel or do stuff you don't want to do. But that's the thing, how would he inflict it? Would it be like a stock like Ghostface, something like a gaze? Like I don't know how that would work. I also can't think of some sort of blend ability for him without it being too mystical as well, since Hannibal Lecter is more on the realistic side. Still someone I would love to see in the game, but the devs will have to get really creative if they plan on considering him. I've seen his iconic mask in games like wrestling and stuff, but it would be pretty unique seeing himself in the game, chasing, hooking people. Insidious.
It was a visitor. I said, "What do you want?" It said Dalton.
An Insidious chapter in DVD I think might be interesting, but the process of how it could connect to DVD I think will be more intriguing. A family in a haunted house experiences demonic events that eventually put the older son by the name of Dalton Lambert into a coma. The parents, who are Josh and Renee Lambert, contact the medium by the name of Elise Rainier, who senses dark energy not only around the house but close to the Lambert son. Dalton. Elise then finds out that Dalton has a special gift to leave the human body and roam alternate realms. In other words, astral projection. Dalton then gets lost and taken by a demon which is in an unknown realm called the Further. Josh Lambert, the father, must now save his son in hopes of bringing him back in one piece. If y'all seen the movie, y'all know it does not end well. Similar idea with Sadako's chapter by having the youngest character be older. I think it will be neat for Dalton's special gift to meet the entity. Dalton can astral project, right? So wouldn't it be interesting for Dalton to discover or be lured into the realm of the entity, bringing a familiar demon along with him. This would be a pretty damn dark chapter, especially if it's just Dalton and not the parents, because they will be wondering where he's wandered off into once again. I could see the demon having a unique ability that could kind of work like pig straps in a way, where once the demon downs a survivor, the demon can send the survivor to the Further. This will be the slowdown of the ability because survivors will have to escape the Further in order to be active in the game again. I had that in mind, but then it's like the Further can just be the map and the demon could just do something different. I'll still love to see the chapter exist in DVD, and I think it could shake up the game a bit.
Slow down. His feet are flat. Slow down. Slow down.
What is it?
Mirror's Edge.
Wires are going crazy. Get out of there, Nate. Unpacking Celeste. You there, Phil?
What the hell's happening? I can hear gunshots and that bird seems a little too curious.
Mirror's Edge is for sure one of those games I was playing back in the PS3 days. It was hands down one of the most immersive games I played at a pretty young age. Faith is brave, bold, and a daredevil. I think she could use her incredible agility in the realm of the entity to outrun killers for days. If Faith was in DBD, I could see her having a perk that involves tokens, which for each token that increases her vault speed. If she winds up getting hit, she loses a token. However, if she reaches 5 tokens, the perk can grant her 6% haste for 25 seconds or something crazy like that. She will for sure have to have at least one exhausted perk because she be out in the game. The model for her would be cool to see in DBD as well, considering Mirror's Edge is a first person game. I guess you could call her the Meg 2.0 because they're both runners, but I still think it will be pretty interesting to see. Mirror's Edge is not the only license I would want in DBD from EA though, but the other license is pretty popular, so that don't count. Mary Shaw.
Beware the stare of Mary Shaw. She had no children, only dolls. And if you see her in your dreams, be sure you never, ever scream.
Ugh, this lady creeped me out when I was younger. I feel like not only should the devs take ton of inspiration from her story if they ever consider adding a doll type killer, but just add her in general. Mary Shaw fits perfectly in the game like Dead by Daylight, and she can be the first killer to actually bring dolls to interact with. That's if they decide not to bring Chucky into the game though. If you're not familiar with her, Mary Shaw was a lady who became overly obsessive with dolls to the point where she considered the dolls her own children and started creating ones of her own. As she grew up, this led to most people in the town bullying Mary because of her exception. Mary kinda lost her mind because of this and kept note of everyone who wronged her because of her obsession. Mary's goal was to create a life-size doll which she would modify with human parts. One day this came true. Mary was a ventriloquist who would perform at shows and special events. A boy who was attending the show exposed Mary for saying that her lips were moving, believing that the doll wasn't really talking. Mary wasn't happy with this and later kidnapped the boy and turned him into a ventriloquist dummy. Townsfolk in searching for the boy later got suspicious of Mary, raided her home, and cut off her tongue before killing her. Mary's tongue being the mandatory part of her body because she would need that in order to perform as a ventriloquist. One of the many requests from Mary, which she kept in the book if she ever were to die, was to be turned into a life-size doll. After her burial, she then took revenge into her own hands and killed all the townspeople that wronged her by ripping out their tongue if they screamed. This legitimately sounds like something that could be in DBD spot on. Just that really disturbing, edgy, and dark tone her story has to offer. The realm of the entity will be a perfect setting for her. I can see the entity manipulating her mind, making her see the survivors as the town people that wronged her. If they don't one day add her, I hope they at least take huge inspiration from her story. It's very underrated. I picture Mary Shaw having the ability to manifest herself into dolls and make survivors scream or manipulate them in some way. Of course, screaming plays a huge part in her power. I can see her having a similar mechanic to Pinhead when he teleports near a survivor that's sold in the box. Instead, with Mary Shaw, it will be when the survivors scream. This will have a cooldown to it because she will be the ultimate slugger with infectious fright when you really think about it. But I see her having that snowball effect as her playstyle anyways. Maybe a passive mechanic animatronic where if you're in a tear radius for too long and your meter starts to fill up, like your scream meter or something like that, the survivors around her would just scream. Something similar like the doctor. Survivors could counter this with calm spirit or by hopping in the locker. I doubt this chapter will happen because she's not really popular like that anymore, but if it did, I can see her being called the ventriloquist and her having the power that has to do with dolls and screaming.
Now, who's the dummy?
What are some chapters that not too many people are talking about that you would love to see in DBD? Let me know down below. Love y'all. Take care. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. And peace.